we've got got Shane Riley's torso.
Sorry about that.
That's totally all right. That was a great moment. Great moment to bring everybody back in. Hello. Thank you. Thanks for joining us again. WP Build's weekly WordPress news. We tend to sort of wander off a bit, actually. We talk about the WordPress news quite a bit, but then we tend to wander off. So please bear with us. But this is exciting because we have somebody new today. It's always exciting to have people back again, but it's also exciting to have people on for the first time. And now, okay, the problem I have here is Wendie, who is there. Now, Wendie has a name that I can't pronounce. And so she told me to pronounce it as Wendie House in the Field. But then I told her that a Wendie house was an actual thing in the UK. It's like a toy thing that you play with your children. And so will you do your name, Wendie?
Yes, I will. It is Dutch and it is Huis in het Veld.
Okay, Wendie, Huis in het Veld.
Yes, very good. Okay.
I've known Wendie for quite a while, actually. Many years ago, probably, I don't know, 6 years ago or something. We were accountability partners in the WP Elevation program.
Yes.
And I met you, I think, in the real world twice, WordCamp London and WordCamp EU recently. So yes. It's a pleasure. It's always lovely to have somebody new on, and I hope you become a regular. That would be nice.
Yeah,
and then down there is Vito Peleg, needs no introduction. Hello, Vito.
Hello. Happy to be here. I even used my little banner here.
Oh, look at that. Now that's clever. Look, he has. That's great. Yeah, when you log into the platform, you can type whatever freeform text you like. Wendie's gone for Wendie, Shane's gone for Lonely Viking, I've gone for WP Builds, and Vito's gone for 40% off WP feedback on the final day. Nice.
Just today, Cyber Monday.
Is that it? Are you packing up the deal after today?
Oh man, it's been crazy.
Good.
Like, I think we're gonna talk about Black Friday. I think it's gonna be like a week thing. Yeah,
let's do it. But let's introduce our final guest today, which is Shane, just down there. How you doing, Shane? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome. It's a pleasure to have you back again. Just so that you know what we're about, I'm just going to share my screen ever so briefly. There we go. WP Builds podcast. You know, if you click on this thing, you get to the latest podcast. We've got an archive of podcast episodes and whatnot. We have a Black Friday deals page, which you can get to by clicking on this link just here, and it will take you to, like, I think there's about 117 deals still going. Wow. News archive can be got through here, and the top left one, which today looks like it's got toast on it, but in fact it's pastrami, is what we're going to be talking about today. And so it's this article. So if you really want to follow along, go to Archives, News Archive, and the latest one, which is number 91, will be what we're talking about. We'll dwell on some of these for a little while. Some of them might be shorter than others. But are you ready to kick into it, guys? Should we go for it?
Yes, let's go.
Let's go. First of all, Peach is listening in, Wendie, which is nice.
Yeah, she's driving back from Granada.
Valencia. Yeah,
no, she's driving to Valencia. She's traveling from Granada.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I did know that as well, because we sort of texted earlier today, and she says it's, hello, Wendie. There we go. That's nice.
Hello, Peter.
Hi there, Chris. Thanks for joining us again. Right, keep those comments coming in. wpbuilds.com/live. That'll get you to the YouTube comments. But if you go into the Facebook group, you can use Facebook comments, and they all appear in our little clever system that we've got here. Okay, so first one, I don't know if this is of any interest to anybody, in all honesty, but it might be if you're a developer. This is the news over on make.wordpress.org that we now actually have a release schedule. Vito, you probably can speak to this more than anybody else. The major releases have been sort of booked in. Now, nobody's saying these dates are booked in permanently. They're saying this is a bit of a movable feast. But for the first time ever, we want to give you some idea of how long it's going to be for each point release. So 5.4, apparently, end of March next year, all the way up to WordPress 6.0, which would be like, I guess that's the 7th of December, 2021. Yes. I just don't need this clarity in my life. I don't need this level of sophistication. I just kind of keep an eye on it. And when it happens, that's great. And I press update and, but I presume for somebody like you, knowing this stuff in advance is quite interesting. Is it purposeful or?
It is whenever you're planning your own roadmap, from a product point of view, you got to consider what's going to happen in the environment around you. So any new technology that is coming in and any new kind of restrictions or whatever that is happening within the tools that you actually taking part of is very, very important. I spoke to Francesca about this when I saw her. I saw a few times. I think it was in the US that we spoke about it, either in US or in Tel Aviv. And she's doing an amazing job managing the entire kind of release schedule, release updates, scheduling all the releases. So I think that this is just one step forward to help structure everything. But it's more than helping the public, like people that are actually using WordPress. Imagine the logistical feat of getting people to actually do the work that is involved with each one of these releases, where the team is volunteering, so it's just like random contributor days all around the world. So having this structured plan, I think, will give clarity not only for product makers but also for the make team, for the people that actually are contributing, and the organizers that need to make sure that everything is happening on time and all of these kind of stuff. Plus, it's such a big platform, it has to have a scheduled release date, it's just kind of funny that it didn't happen before, but I'm really happy that they did.
Yeah, Chris Hughes says the dates are useful if they tie certain upcoming features to a version, or perhaps informing people that 5.x will not support PHP feature.x. That's interesting. Yeah, they did quite a nice little comment at the end here, which kind of got buried, but I thought this belied something really nice. It says major religious holidays for multiple faiths and federal US holidays were taken into consideration. But it's this bit: if you spot a date that's a big no, please comment below before the 4th of December. I just thought that's quite nice, isn't it? Somebody's taken the time to think, well, we will stall this if if in some part of the world there's some major thing going on that we didn't know about. Paul Lacey, by the way, who should have been on this call, he's listening in. So hi there, Paul. That's nice of you to come and join us. Any Shane, Wendie, anything on this? It doesn't matter to me, this particularly, but it might not to you either.
Not as a user, I would say.
No, the thing about the date is, I think I know why they put it in, because the last WordCamp Europe was around Ramadan. Or the Sugar Fest or something. It was a major holiday in one of the biggest religions, and they didn't consider it, so it was a big issue.
Interesting. That is interesting, because I remember the issue surrounding WordCamp US this year. It sort of collided. I don't know if it collided directly, but it collided with Halloween, I think it was. In order to travel back or forward, I can't remember, but lots of people were saying that in order to get to the event or return from the event, we'd have to basically miss out Halloween, and that's a no-no and a bit of a shame. Anyway, interesting story, and it just check it out if that's your thing. Now, this one, I think, for me personally, this is a big story. Maybe if you don't frequent the WP Tavern, it's nothing whatsoever. But I've been going to this website on a daily basis. Like literally daily. It's like it's one of those things that I do in the morning when I switch on the computer, like open up the WP Tavern, see if there's any new content. And I opened it up on the 25th of November, so a few days ago, and I was hit by this thing. And the WP Tavern, ever since the beginning of time, has had little wooden panels down the side. Maybe Jeff Chandler was responsible for that. I don't know. But Jeff has moved on. Justin Tadlock has now sort of taken the helm, and he's rebuilt the WP Tavern, and he's done away with the sidebar. He's gone for a nice simple font, white background, no distractions whatsoever. He's using as the most minimal code he can find. He's customized a stripped down version of tailwind.css. Anyway, all that's an aside. I like it. I really like it, because suddenly it looks like it does in an app like Feedly. It looks like it does in a feed reader. All of the cruft has gone. And whilst that's a shame, if you'd had a post recently featured and it was hovering around in the sidebar, and that was probably very good for you and your, the traffic coming to your site. I do like this. I like the simple, looks like something, I don't know, 800 pixels wide. Simple white background, black font. Anybody is taken by this as me? Do you hate it? Do you like it?
I guess for me, it's what it does is it makes the content the sort of hero of the page, which is great. If you're there to read content, that's great. As a designer, it's not like amazing to look at, so it's kind of a bit boring. But in terms of what they're trying to achieve, I think it's the right thing to do to make it sort of just all about the content. Yeah.
I think that was his purpose. He said, I can't remember the exact quote, but essentially it boiled down to what you've just said. I think they were throwing out almost everything, get it back to its basic content, and then they'll iterate from there. So you never know even like the logo, they've just ditched it all it's just text. I presume that's text. Yeah, it's text. So, interesting. Maybe there's a job for you here, Shane. You could write him a letter and say, I've got an idea for the tavern. I like it. Simple.
I think it's a great step forward. It was dated for years.
Yeah.
It's like one of those websites that if you see a client that is coming to you with that kind of website, it's like, all right, there's a lot to be done here.
Yeah.
But they did take a step back, so like like you're saying, they stripped the whole thing up. I think it gives it a lot more cleaner view, but there's a bunch of things missing that should assert them as the dominant news channel within the ecosystem, and that I think is being missed out a little bit, especially when you're looking like at Smashing Magazine or stuff like that, where they give a lot more emphasis on how things are looking. And even within WordPress, some other blogs that are out there, it might be an opportunity to switch forces a little bit if that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. The when I was saying earlier that I open up WP Tavern every morning, that's a complete lie. I don't. I open it up via Feedly, which is my RSS reader of choice, and basically it looks like that.
Right.
So that's what I want to see. I just want to see the text because it just scrapes the content and pushes it into a completely white background. But in order to sort of catch URLs and see other articles, I often do look at the WP Tavern, and I just like it. I like the approach, but I can see where you're coming from, Shane. Maybe a little too simple for those of you that have got a design hat on. Yeah. Wendie, any thoughts on this?
Nope, not a designer. Don't care.
Yes. Are you offended by it though, Wendie, or does it seem
Am
like?
I offended by it?
Yeah. Does it seem all right, or
I am not offended. I am really. I really don't care.
Yeah.
If I can read it and if it's clear, it's fine by me.
Yeah. I was like, for example, Jan was on the other week, and this was a significant thing for him. He's still doing it.
We're both on it. Shane, you're on it as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the WP Agency Summit. So his article came up, and it would just linger in the sidebar. So for somebody like him, this and if Vito, if you'd have had an article published, or something like that, it lingered and it was elsewhere, and you could see it from there. But now all of that's gone, so I can see from certain perspectives it might not be as good. But Justin's job is to put the content out, and so he's done it. Okay, right. Let's move on then very quickly. If you don't know about this is a kind of a bit of an advert for WP and Up. They're doing a summit starting tomorrow. Starts at 1 p.m. UK time. Corey Miller is kicking it off with yours truly, actually. I'm going to be with Corey and Dan maybe. And then we've got a whole load of guests. You can see it's actually not on this page, but if you sort of click around here, you'll eventually find the summit itinerary. It's completely free. It's going to be over on WP Build. Sorry, not WP Build. It's wpandup.org/live 1 p.m. Tomorrow. So totally free, and it's the Do Summit Good event. It's not about products or themes or any of that. It's about what people in the WordPress community are doing to improve other people's lives, which I think is worth mentioning. So I don't know if anybody wants to communicate on that, but I'll just move on if not. Okay. Right. This I did find interesting. We'll talk about Yoast in a minute, but this is Yoast as in Yoast with a J. Do you know, this was the hardest thing for me to say on the podcast I recorded this morning, because I kept saying Yoast with a Y. And then I have to say Yoast, J-O-O, that one, because it's Yoast.blog. And of course, everybody will type in YOAST.blog. I don't know if he does this every year, but here we have the market share analysis for CMSs that he's put together. Turns out WordPress is on the rise. Wix, Squarespace, all of that are on the rise. WooCommerce. If WooCommerce was an independent CMS, it would be the second biggest on earth after WordPress. That's quite a thing. And things like Drupal and Joomla are falling. But things like Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, all these paid ones, they're rising. But Yoast makes the point that each time they rise a tiny little bit, they get more money, they get more revenue. So if they rise by like 0.1%, that's probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. Whereas, WordPress rises by such and such, it probably doesn't add up to very much. Anyway, it's really fascinating. It goes into all sorts of areas. But the takeaway is open source is falling off, except WordPress, and these proprietary platforms, the paid for ones, they're going up. So maybe Shane, it sounded like you wanted to chip in here.
Yeah, that looks. I think that graph that shows WordPress on the increase is.
Which one? That one? No, where's it gone? Can't find it. Is it that one? Yeah, that's the one. CMS market share over time. So this is WordPress. Yeah, look at it. That is absolutely rock solid growth, isn't it? That's
and
like
the fact that
predictable.
And the fact that no CMS is on such a decline, I think, is also super interesting.
Yeah. And look at all these others down here, just sort
also
of
still the biggest. That is so surprising to me. It's also no CMS is also still the biggest.
Yeah.
But these are all like static HTML landing page here, static HTML landing page there, for decades back, so that's where.
Yeah, and maybe also, I don't know how the self-created CMS is. I know a couple of people who have website businesses who created their own CMS, which is closed source, not open source, but they would probably be in the none group.
Yeah.
But that was fascinating, though. So here we go. If you look at the stats, you'll see an astonishing 5.5% of websites in the research are powered by Woo, and that actually freaked me out a bit. I didn't for a minute think that WooCommerce by itself would be second. In the way that they tabulate this data, WooCommerce is WordPress because it's a subset of WordPress. It can't be extrapolated out. Sure. But I
think I saw statistics about WooCommerce being 26 or 27% of the entire e-com industry.
There is something in here about that actually, and I've forgotten what it was. I'm pretty sure there is. But WordPress just skyrockets. All the other open source projects decline, and the paid for stuff is on the rise. So that is interesting. And I suppose that's the kind of thing that if you're working at the top end of Automatic or something, that'll keep you busy and kind of wondering how it is that they manage to extract.
More than even if we're taking this to the smallest kind of WordPress user or smallest, just a freelancer that needs to then prove to a potential client why WordPress, we've all had this conversation many times with potential customers. Why this over the other? Why not just do Shopify or Squarespace? So I've been using these kind of statistics for years, but having something that is up to date and every year that comes out that's really solid as a proof, or knowing your numbers within your community so that you can actually talk with knowledge, pushing people to the right angle, which is the right angle is always defined by the person that is speaking. So if we're WordPress people, we would say, of course, WordPress is the best one. But a guy that does Shopify will say, no, that's Shopify is actually the right way to go about it, because they take care of everything for you and whatever. There's advantage and disadvantage to each one. But this gives us power when we're dealing this conversation, as opposed to people that are managing any of the other CMSs out there. Also, I would say that just looking at WordPress compared to the other main CMS. When I started building, I was doing it on Drupal before WordPress.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So it was, and that was the way. It wasn't even a consideration if you're gonna do it with WordPress or Drupal. You just do it with Drupal, right? And now it's like there's no doubt about it. They literally kind of obliterated the competition, and they just dominating by far. And I think it's just going to keep on going, especially with the latest investment and all of the advancements that are happening with Gutenberg and all of these kind of stuff that are bringing them closer to Squarespace and Wix in terms of user experience. It's
interesting.
Just getting started.
It's a lovely statistic, though, that you can show this graph, and I would think that if you're a client looking to have a website built, and somebody says 35% of the web, that's pretty meaningful. I would have thought.
And there was even an interview with Matt just last month or 2 months ago when they were doing the fundraise with Salesforce. He stated that their goal is to get to 80% market share. Market share with the CMSs. So there's still a lot more room to grow there.
Breathtakingly, what's the word? Ambitious, shall we say? Really good. Okay. All right. Unless anybody's got anything, I'm going to move on to.
Yes, I do have
Wendie,
something.
Please.
It is not a definite thing. It's just I'm wondering, with all the Squarespace and the Wix, they all have money streams behind them, and WordPress doesn't, except for Automatic and some big companies. Is there a way that? Do you think there is a way that we can monetize this thing, like the users or the small people that are involved?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, when you have this big part of the internet that is powered by a project that is mainly made and created and sustained by contributors,
sure,
which has been quite an interesting conversation, because contributors are not paid, and I like contributing. I do it quite often. But it's always, for me, down to making money or contributing.
Yeah.
And sometimes contributing wins, and sometimes making money wins. Yeah. But looking at these numbers, it is, in my mind, I can't grasp that this is voluntary, created by people who love doing that.
Yeah.
And it is not generating money for the people who are working this much on the project.
Yeah,
I think that it's that we all found our business models within this model like a while ago. With if it's freelancers building websites or developers, that specialize in WordPress. So we all make money from WordPress. It changed all of our lives. Each and every person that is
definitely
on this panel and listening to us out, over there. So we already figured it out. It just reminded me of what we spoke about just before with the new Black Friday banners that were popping up.
Oh,
Vito.
No, it was me. I clicked the buttons. Vito, for about a second there, I muted you. Sorry.
I can stop talking. You can just say,
Instead of press go large, I pressed go quiet. You just.
So I'm thinking that it could be that's another way of monetizing this thing, using the dashboard where it has all of these millions and millions of people that are seeing this every day to drive business in all kinds of ways. If it's freelancer, you can use the dashboard to put in some upsells for yourself, for your own clients. If it's a company, if these are big companies like I see Ronald is here with us. If it's Heath or Yoast or some of the other companies that we saw putting banners up there, that's another way of utilizing the traffic source of people visiting the dashboard and monetizing it. So there's loads of ways. I think that by not defining it, it just expanded the possibilities and the creativity of people to ask, how do they approach.
Should we get into that? Because that never made it into my sort of like news summary, because it happened after I'd kind of written it and clicked save and schedule and what have you. But it came up in the news, and Ronald's in here, so he can probably make some comments about it. But I got a ping from somebody who sent me a screenshot of their dashboard, their WP admin dashboard, and I couldn't for the life of me work out what they were trying to get me to look at. And then I sort of know, okay, I get it now. It's a picture of your dashboard, and there's a Yoast advert in it. Now it was like a thin letterbox. So if you didn't see it, it was like a bird carrying like this flag behind it, and essentially it was advertising their Black Friday deal. And immediately lots and lots of people took umbrage to this, and Twitter, in the way that Twitter is capable of, exploded. Lots and lots of people wrote comments about, that's it, I'm fed up, I've seen this advert for the last time, I'm moving to some other plugin. And then lots and lots of people also, I don't know if you noticed in the Yoast on WordPress.org, just a string of 1-star reviews, all of them in about 3 or 4 words saying no more ads or something along those lines. Now, I have to be a little bit careful and tread a line here. And I really just want to put it out to you three guys. How does that stuff sit with you? If you log in to your admin area and you see an advert in a way that you didn't expect to see, does that annoy you? But more importantly, throw in the potential for a client to see that and become confused, because some of the comments that were coming down the wire were basically saying, I thought I was hacked because I've never seen this before and I don't really know how it got there. So whoever wants to talk, let's open the floor for a good few minutes, because this one really stirred it up this week, didn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Okay. Yeah. So
I think that it's well, it is pretty bad when you look at it in first view. But when you really stop and think about this, it actually makes sense. You know, Yoast is a company with 9+ million active installs. They need to promote the pro version somehow, and they're all getting support. They're all getting the service and ongoing development and all this kind of stuff. So there's kind of a way there should be some kind of a way to actually help them monetize the service, as per what we discussed just before that. I think was just a little too intrusive, putting this inside the dashboard. Maybe it would be even better if it was part of the widget, inside the post, just having a smaller banner in there, so it's not just in your face when you land in there. So Leo said they were been like overstepping a little bit, but I think it was kind of a flow of tools, because at some point over the weekend I went into one of our sites and I had like 6 of them from different companies.
Wow. Okay, they're all at it. Okay.
They were all like, okay, you're still doing it, so we can do it. So everyone jumped on the wagon there. And if it's gonna happen again, it's just gonna become the norm. It's just new, and some people have to innovate in order for them, and they get the initial hit. But again, guys, it's all free. You gotta see something. You gotta see something. Like you watch YouTube for free, you get ads. So there's a saying that if you're not paying for something, you're probably the product.
Yeah.
So
if you're not paying with money, you're paying with something else. You are in the end, you're paying for something.
Yeah. So
It was interesting that I saw today somebody so this got posted in the WP Builds Facebook group with, I think I posted it. It was me. I posted it with the screenshot saying, interesting. What do you think? Sitting on the fence, liberal. And the comments came in with all sorts of different opinions about it. And then just today, somebody posted one from a caching plugin that was at some point in the last, I don't know, maybe year. And it was all of it. It was the entire page. So it was like an A4 sheet of paper whacked onto your website.
Wow.
And it was full on with like pricing tables and everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think your idea, Vito, is quite ingenious, actually. The notion of putting it in the widget, because you can close the widget. And if you don't want to see stuff from Yoast, close the Yoast widget and you'll never see it. But if you do want to see stuff from Yoast and you want to be up to date with all your SEO stuff, that feels like a nice compromise place to put it.
Yeah, I think it generated loads of revenue for them. So kudos to them.
I also like the way they did it, to be honest, because I've seen it several times in several dashboards. And what they did, they had this little owl, which is their thingy, and it was flying with the banner. And then it whenever you moved over it, it became like you were shooting the bird, which was kind of fun. It was hard to shoot for the cross to get it out of your dashboard, but the shooting thingy was, I liked what they did. I understand why people got so upset. I did get that it was a commercial thing right from the beginning, but maybe because I look at quite a lot of dashboards. So I didn't really have a problem. And what Vito is saying, if you're not paying with money, you're paying with something else. I think they have every right to find whatever way they can to get their products in front of their customers.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take this then. And I don't know if what I'm about to say is true, but let's sort of pretend for a moment that it was true. If that was available only to administrators, and not editors, not contributors, whatever, just less raw, would that be okay? Would that be more okay?
I would be better.
Yeah,
I would say like when this happened, I was thinking, how would I do it? Within our own thing, and we actually have those 3 layers of who is the client, who is the webmaster, and who are anyone else. So people define themselves, and this gives us the flexibility of doing this kind of stuff. So exactly to this point, Nathan, if it was me, I would just make sure that it's just shown to the webmaster. And maybe that's a feature that could give a lot of flexibility to product makers if people define themselves, so you know who you're actually marketing to, in terms of the people that are getting into the back end of WordPress. Because I don't mind, I don't want to market to our clients, I want to market to the agencies, to the freelancers. I don't want their clients to be disrupted by anything that is happening within the site. But I still want to get that prime real estate of putting my own messaging in front of my own target audience. So that's how I would do it, just because we have the facility. But maybe that's something that could be interesting. Every platform out there has administrator and, user, like WordPress has that with admins and stuff like that, but we all know that eventually the client will get an admin user and will use only the admin user. So it doesn't really do anything. Maybe having another super admin or something like that.
Yeah.
So
okay. What about this as an idea then? What about instead of free and premium plugins, the other way around? What about if you had free with ads? Slightly paid for, remove the ads, and then premium. So in other words, you pay a nominal amount for a maybe slightly additional functionality, or just no ads, and then you've got your premium. Product? Yeah, so like WP feedback, right? If you install it and it's the totally free version, you're going to get ads, right? You're going to get ads when we decide to give you ads, and they're going to go where we saw them with Yoast, or pay us. I don't know, I'm making it up, $1 a month, $2 a month, whatever. You'll never get an ad from us. It's like what you get on the Kindle. You can buy that version of the Kindle which shows you ads. But if you pay slightly more, you get the ad-free version. Or you pay the premium version and we promise never to show you an ad.
That's an interesting model. Yeah. I think that Facebook killed that idea, because it's either this or that. But actually, YouTube did that as well. You can pay for YouTube Premium or Spotify.
Yeah,
and then you don't get ads.
I don't know.
What about?
Sorry, go on, please.
No problem. what about if instead of putting an ad on the dashboard, and like Vito said, some apps or some plugins might have put them all there at the same time. So you got like 6. So instead of that, maybe each plugin, like in the left-hand panel of WordPress, you know, when you've got updates, it tells you there's a little number 6 there. You've got 6 updates or whatever. So let's say for whatever plugin, it'll have a little number 1 there, and it has either on its own settings page or on a notifications page, it tells you WP feedback has 1 notification. And when you click on it, it takes you to an ad. So like, I don't know, for me, when I see that little number 1, I have to go there to get rid of it. So at least it's not in the dashboard, but I've got to go and see what that little notification is so I can get rid of the little number 1, because I've got to get rid of all of those things, you know. So I don't know, maybe that's a way to do it that's better.
Martin Bellman's in the comments has sort of said he can't really see many people paying for ads, and in the end it'll probably just lead to the rise of the WP admin ad blocking plugin, which is true. Of course, coming down the wire.
I totally don't agree. I would pay for an adless Facebook anytime.
Interesting.
For example.
Well, you can just put an ad blocker and you don't have the ads.
Yeah, it's good. You don't have to pay. But I get the point. You're maybe Facebook wasn't the perfect example, but the WP admin is perfect, isn't it? Give again WP feedback. Give them $20 a year, whatever. Yeah. No ads.
Keep my admin ad free.
Yeah. Right. Of course. Now going back to the Yoast thing, there is a hook so there's something you can add to your child theme or whatnot, which will remove these anyway. But who
there's a plugin as well.
Yeah. Who until now did that? Yeah. But the other thing is, coming down the road, I'm pretty sure we've got the admin notifications API, and they're going to standardize all this to stop all this. I think. I'm sure I read on the WP Tavern a month, 2 months ago that this was all going to be standardized. Maybe this possibility is literally going to go away. Whatever. I mean, I'm sure ingenious people will find a way around it, but that was my understanding, was that all notifications will look the same, and you'll be able to do the normal WordPress colors, the red, the whatever, green and whatnot.
That's it.
So maybe this is all a sort of storm in a teacup.
Which also means that Yoast picked the perfect timing.
Interesting. Get in whilst it's still available. Yeah. So
I would like to add one thing before we move on. I don't know if but the response of the Yoast team, and especially Marika from her. Whoa!
Bravo!
Big applause! Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. They did rise up over there.
It was like contrition. It was proper, actual apologies to every single tweet from the CEO, who, let's be honest, had better things to do.
Really replied to each one of the tweets?
Well, I gave up looking after about 10 or something,
right?
But it looked like she was just getting into, like, digging out of the hole that it felt like had been made. So that was good. Yeah. And it was a proper apology. It was like we I don't remember the word she used, but she basically said, "Look, we won't do this
we
again."
screwed up. I'm sorry. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Which I get, like we all know that we're,
it happens.
We had this conversation just a few days ago. We're all making things up as we go along. No one knows what actually is happening in this world. We just try out things and see what the feedback is. So they tried. They got massive backlash, and I guess they won't do it again.
No, this is an interesting one, though, right? David Von Gries supplied me with a tweet whilst we've been talking, and that he wants everybody to see. And I think it's fair to put this tweet up on the screen. So this is Yoast himself back in, I don't know when this was. It looks like it was 2 years ago, more or less.
Wow.
Yeah.
We need to talk about notification etiquette. This morning, my Netatmo, whatever that is, weather station sent me a push notification, not because it was raining, but because it was my last chance to buy X because of Black Friday. It was the last in a line of offenders.
No.
So Interesting. I mean, we all change, right? Let's give him a fair. I mean, for a start, he's not the CEO anymore. Marika is, and there may have been a shift in the policy. And Marika totally owned it. She said it was my decision because somebody tweeted saying, you got to sack the person who authorized this, and she said, "Well, I'm the CEO. It was me." And I
also really like the way she owns it, because you see a lot of people just pushing it off to some other random person. Saying no, yeah, we made a mistake, but blah 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 blah. No, and she's just said, I owned it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I like the way she handled that.
Yeah, I think so too. I was really impressed. In fact, I tweeted that exact same sentiment. Well done for being so good about owning it. In the UK, we have this system where if you own a television, you have to pay a fee, and it's called a license fee. And I know that in most of the world, this is crazy.
We have it as well.
Okay. But what it enables us to do is it enables us to have a certain few channels that are completely ad free, right? So you pay £200 a year or something, and you get the BBC. And you get the BBC radio and all of that, and so you've got this ad-free channel that you have to pay. You have no choice; you have to pay it. But then, if you go to the other channels, anything outside the BBC, it's completely understood that the ads are going to come in. So I just wonder if this is where we're going. Free platform, you've got a free plugin. You're going to have to, we have to make money in some way. Maybe we need to talk more about how often. Is once a month allowed? Maybe we need to talk about how big, how large can that banner ad actually be? The one that I was talking about occupying the full UI. Maybe that's overstepping the boundary. All of those kind of things. Are you allowed to include imagery? I mean, goodness me, are you allowed to include video, autoplay video, and stuff like that?
Right.
And are you allowed
music?
Yeah. Are you allowed to hijack non-admin user roles and all this who knows, but there's no doubt going to be a debate about this. I think we did quite well there. It was quite a good little chat, that, wasn't it? Anything else you want to throw in before we move it on? This pushback, says David McCann, pushback on the essential ads for advertising their other product. No, there's another line. If you sell alternative products, if you're a plugin developer and you've got a whole bunch of them, can you advertise? This is getting difficult. And before we put our foot too deeply in the muddy water, maybe we should just crack on and talk about
that would also be interesting if you can just advertise when somebody has a competitor installed.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh dear, we're in murky water.
Interesting.
Yeah. Or maybe we should just have a dedicated admin advertising tab on the admin left, the left menu, which clearly nobody's ever going to click on it. But
that's not true.
Come away in there.
Well, you have the Black Friday page, and obviously there's loads of traffic going in there. You have the deals page, loads of traffic. The hosting companies have their solution centers or partners pages and all these kind of stuff. That's actually a great idea to include everything in there. Then you have one space based on the plugin that were installed that is allocated to each one. So they all get 400 by 400 square, that you can do whatever you want in there.
Yeah, and just randomize them.
Yeah,
and then have big red notifications to tell people to look there.
Especially
for shade. Numbers.
Yeah, exactly. You have to have a banner advert
never
to tell people to go to the advertising. Yes, we've solved the problem. There is no more problem. The thicker the problem gets, the more it seems like we should probably move on. Let's do that. Let's move on and let's talk about this. I don't want to dwell on this for a particularly long time because we're running out of time. Astra, the guys behind Astra, have launched a new place where you can go and learn all sorts of things. It's called SkillJet. My understanding is if you've got an Astra account, like they're bundled.
I checked this out. It's only an agency account.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So if you've got the highest tier, I think,
yes,
then you get this for free. And essentially, this article links to. There was a better. Yeah, that's probably a slightly better slide. It's like an LMS set up. You go in, pick your course. You want to learn about marketing, they've got you covered, and so on. I just thought I'd raise it because if you've got that bundle, which I know a lot of the people who listen to this have, then you got this for free. It's just come down the road. And if you don't get their emails, then you probably didn't know it existed. But there it is, SkillJet. There's about 8 courses.
Growing.
Yeah, growing, they say. Yeah. Okay. Right, let's go to, oh, crikey. Let's go on to the next one. Speaking of Astra, actually, this one came up. This is a feature if you're using Beaver Builder's UABB add-on. They've now got this feature where you can modify your login area, which I think is really nice. I don't want to say much more about it. Log in with Google, Facebook. Cool. It just looks nice. I think it's a nice little throw it in if you use Beaver Builder, and your clients will, you know, they might just see that slightly more favorably. What else have we got? Elementor. This is interesting. The first time I've ever seen Elementor push an email where they don't link to their super slick marketing. I got an email this week, just the regular set of emails. I don't think I'm on a beta testing plan or anything like that, you know, an email list or anything. And so they push it to GitHub, asking you to go and read about how you can contribute to their latest stuff, which is like, you know, they're trying to push out this color slide, this, you know, pick colors and press a plus button, and the site will remember that color choice instantly, and various other things like dark mode. And I just thought, interesting. I've never seen them push people to GitHub before.
So I think that there was a bunch of ads emails as well, you know, like with the Black Friday and coming in this week for Elementor.
True.
Actually, I bought in on this Black Friday, and but I guess it's just about the target audience. If you're sending people here, they're probably looking for developers that can keep testing it. So if you're if you're not using GitHub, it will deter you straight away. And so it still has a thought of funnel, you know, by sending people in here. I just admire everything these guys do. They do everything with such style and you know, just being so spot on. It's beautiful.
Whether or not you use Elementor, you cannot deny their marketing is like, it's like television level, isn't it? It's like really, really good. So that was a bunch of plugin and theme news. Deals of the week. We've still got our Black Friday page going, wpbuilds.com/black if you want to. I think most of the deals. When does yours run out, Vito? Today, did you say?
Today's the final day. This was my first experience doing a Black Friday promotion. So it was a really, really interesting couple of weeks just building up to it and trying to figure out what people are doing, what people are not doing. It was really interesting to see it from the other side, because last year I was just buying deals, you know? So, I did buy a bunch of deals this time as well. I couldn't go past it, but this time I was actually running a promotion, so you see things from a different angle, and it's just even though everything is so saturated, it was estimated that just in the zone there would be $400 million spent just on Friday.
In WordPress or just in the world?
No. I wish. I
had to push my jaw up. I was like, no, that can't be right.
But still, you know, like people save up for this time of year. Even though I did hear a few kind of interesting discussions that kind of went past me in previous years about people that are, you save up through this year to buy gifts for your family, you know, that's Christmas time and all this kind of stuff. So what happens to the business? How do you allocate enough resources to actually save up money for yourself for the upcoming year if you need to buy gifts for your entire family and friends and people that you haven't spoke to in 15 years? So creating that different pools of cash, I think, is a good suggestion for people that do have Christmas pushing on them, you know, like luckily I'm Jewish. It's not a problem for me. No gifts for anyone. So that's that was an interesting thing to look at and try to figure out as a product creator, what can I do? How can I build my offer that it would make sense to people that actually want to provide for their families as well this holiday season? a lot of noise. That was my kind of biggest take from this thing.
Yeah.
But it works. It just magically works. Just crazy.
I think people, like you say, they've allocated a certain amount of cash. Just as an example, in like the real world, my son, he's not old, he's just barely become a teenager. He's kind of like figured out there's this Black Friday thing, so he's been saving up for months in order to acquire a bike. And so it's a big thing, he doesn't have a clue what the deals are going to be, but he's kind of working on the basis that there will be a deal. There will be a bike deal. So I'm going to save up and then blow it all. And he got a bike, and it did cost far less. So it was nice. So, okay, quick round the table. One thing that you bought, or if you bought nothing, but I'll start. I bought some Google Home Max speakers, nothing to do with WordPress. And they arrived about an hour before we had to start this podcast. And I'm telling you, it was a struggle to get here. I was loving it. So these things, they're wireless speakers. They're about the same size as a shoebox, but you can pair them. So this one's left, this one's right. Man, nice. They are nice. They're still on offer. They're down from $299 to $199, and yes, I love them. They make my music sound so much. Not my music, the music in my house sounds so much better. Anything for you, Wendie? Did you get anything?
I bought nothing, which was a big struggle, but I bought nothing.
Okay, that's fine. Shane?
I bought one funnel pack from Matt Davies.
Matt Davis, he's here, I think.
Yeah, and I bought a plugin for Illustrator, which does like packages up logos into all different file types that you need, which is pretty cool. Nice. And then I might still buy this page builder called Live Canvas, which does like almost pure Bootstrap 4 output, and then you can take that and use it.
You know what? That came across my radar this morning for the first. I've never seen it, and then somebody said that. I think it was in Moore Cohen's Facebook group that started to have been talked about, and I took a look at it and I was like.
Yeah, interesting.
And I had to sit on the wallet.
No,
says Wendie. No. Vito, did you get anything?
Yeah, I bought a bunch of stuff. Nothing for me. I bought something for my wife. I see Martin is saying here about Sony's over-ear headphones. So I got that for she doesn't know yet, so I hope she doesn't listen to this.
Unless she's into WordPress. No.
She doesn't care anyway. Anyway, anything that we're talking about here. And then I got some courses, some interesting courses for the upcoming year, content marketing that we're working hard on. We're working on a redesign, so I decided that I'm gonna improve my design skills as well after a few years of just going through the motions and not training myself on these kind of stuff. A design course, some resources, and we're planning a redesign for the website. So I bought the entire suite of tools that will power it up. So some page builders, themes, all these kind of stuff.
You really like it, yeah? You're the target market. Next year, everybody send emails to.
Oh man, I think I bought like 0.1% of the stuff I was offered.
Those emails come thick and fast. You gotta like Wendie. You gotta be immune or not at all.
No, I'm not immune. I unsubscribed to everything last month, so I wouldn't get any offers because I am so not immune to stuff like that.
Really interesting. You'll have to resubscribe now. There's another thing that we should have. We've got admin notifications in the WP admin area, and we need like an unsubscribe for a month feature, which appears at the beginning of like October or something like that in all newsletters. What else have we got? We've got some security news. I'm not going to mention it. 3 jobs: automatic software engineer. LearnDash have got a customer support specialist, and Modern Tribe, who make the events calendar, they need to hire a front end engineer. Do you know what? We're so out of time that I'm just the only one of these last 3 that I'm going to mention, if that's all right, is this one. Oh my word! Did anybody get a chance to read it? This I had no idea that my web browsing was as meaningful, like as impactful as this, right? These guys are checking out the carbon footprint of websites, because obviously, you load up a website, some computer somewhere does something, electrons fire over the international airways, as it were, and these guys have figured it out. And there was a statistic in here, and I can't remember where it is, and it's horrible. Right, okay. The average carbon emission per page view on all of the sites that went through their testing suite over the last year, 4.61 grams of carbon per page, right? So every time you load a page, typically it's 4.61 grams, which means if a website has an average of 5,000 visits a month, that is, like, sit down, 276,600 kilos of carbon dioxide.
I don't know what that means, though.
It weighs the same as 1,844 sumo wrestlers. Basically, it's a ton of carbon. And I literally don't see it. What I mean by that is I see my browsing over the internet as completely benign, totally harmless.
Right. Yes.
Like having no effect on anybody. In fact, I think to myself, I'm clever. I don't get my paper from my bank. I do it all online. Isn't that clever of me? Aren't I helping? Maybe not, because maybe I'll go to the banking website 6 times a month or 6 times, every few weeks and load up all this carbon. Anyway, the point was just the numbers are astronomical. And we seem to be, at the minute, more concerned about these numbers than we've ever been before. You're right, Vito. I don't know what that means. I have no idea it's so big. It's got 3 zeros. That's a big number. So, I can't speak for the accuracy of this survey, but if there's any truth in it, man, we've got to do better.
Yeah.
What can we do, though? What is it?
Well,
there were 3 tips on the page.
Yeah.
Right.
Further down. No, where were they? I've forgotten. Oh, I can't find it.
Yeah.
There you go. Switch to a green host. Makes a big difference. Make your web page more efficient. There's all sorts of people. What's his name? Jack. I think I want to say Lennox from Automatic has built a theme which is basically loads in 6K. No images, no cruft. No, it's basic. I mean, it's like the WP Tavern is now. Actually, it looks a lot like that. And plant trees to reduce your carbon footprint. Like, listen, I'm not trying to claim that I know anything about how to save the environment. It was more the jaw drop of the number when I saw it for the first time, and the sudden realization that what I do actually might have a really big impact. So it's this paragraph here, and then there's a paragraph about the good, but I don't want to talk about the good. I do want to talk about the good, but unfortunately we've got a hard stop at 3:05, which is now. So we're going to have to stop. Maybe we can carry that debate on another time, if that's all right. Go and check that article out if it interests you and you want to think about the environment. Very quickly, if it's okay with you guys, tell us what you're doing this week. I'm going to be finishing off my Black Friday nonsense that's been going on, and then finishing off one particular client website. What about you, Wendie? You up to anything exciting?
Yeah, I am so excited. I am creating Christmas gifts for my clients, which is going to be amazing.
What cool. Actual physical things?
Yes.
Oh, you are a lesson to us all, Wendie.
I will show you after Christmas.
Will you?
Yes.
Oh, great. So, wow. Okay. Way to go, though. Talk about marketing. Wow. Nice. What about you, Vito?
Wrapping up the sale, that was the last campaign of the year, and then I finally have time to go back to all of the opportunities that we gathered through WordCamp US and try to leverage them. That's what's going to happen over the next few months for me, starting this week.
Good. And what about you, Shane?
Got a few client projects that we're working on. just kind of a standard week, really.
So ordinary, steady away. Hey, Vito, it just occurs to me that we were going to talk about your WP feedback client area, weren't we? And I've completely forgotten to do it.
The design community.
Yeah. Do you want to just a couple of minutes on that,
Yeah,
or do you want to save it for another day when you're on?
Well, I'll say it again on the other day.
Okay.
So basically, well, we've all been in this situation, especially now, with what WP and App are doing. It's all about being lonely, right? It's all about us being confined to our own little rooms and all over the world and working just in front of that screen without having that collaboration that we can benefit from. So what we tried to do, and we saw that happening organically, when you go to Facebook groups, you see people sharing their a screenshot of their entire landing page, what they built, and they're asking people for feedback. And then we saw some people that were using the tool and actually giving guest access to people within these groups, asking them, just click anything and tell me what you think of my new design. So I figured let's make a thing out of it. And this was actually something that we wanted to do from the beginning, but we had to have some kind of a system in place in order for this to happen. So now, happily, this is coming out. The idea is for the community to help each other grow as a designer, get inspired, and collaborate, so that instead of us using Facebook or Slack or Meetup or LinkedIn groups or or Reddit, the community is just spread out around all of these platforms with hundreds and thousands of people that are within these communities in those different channels. But these are generic tools that don't really work for us as web designers. So that's why we decided to build a full-on community tool for WordPress developers and designers, where you can upload your design, get feedback from the community, you can review other people, you can see visually how well you're doing as you progress. There's all kinds of tools that can literally show you how good of a designer you were before starting to use the community, and after you started leveraging the community. And I think this is going to be like life-changing for a lot of us in finding those little groups. Now we're doing the beta run for this. So if you want to join, it's going to be completely 100% free.
Yeah.
Except for maybe a banner or two, in Black Friday. But basically that's the concept. Just join in and join the conversation and help us make this better. That's the point where we're at the moment.
Nice idea. Help others help themselves. That sounds like a great mantra. Yeah. I'm going to have to leave. I'm going to have to run away because my child is going to be stuck on a playground ever so soon, and nobody wants that. Well, mostly him, but he really doesn't want it. So I'm going to say a very, very quick thank you to all of our guests. I realize that just come on and give their time, and it's fantastic from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Thanks, Wendie. Thanks, Vito. Thanks, Shane. I'm going to pause everybody's mics and put this little banner thing up there. And I'll see you on the other side. I am actually going to hang up as soon as I've done this because I'm running dreadfully late. So thank you, you three, and I'll speak to you again ever so soon.
Bye-bye. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Nathan.